What's up, Planeswalkers? It's your boy K-Dog. We're in Historic with this one for a Grixis Robbers list. So obviously with Jumpstart, we got Gonti, Lord of Luxury. Super sweet card. If you remember it from the Kaladesh block, if you were around playing Magic back then. It's a very fun card. Definitely fits into kind of typically more of like a controlling shell. But just for thematic purposes, it'll be fun to run that with like Thief of Sanity, Robber the Rich, and things like that. So almost kind of a rogue-ish type of a list, but not all in on rogues. So we're kind of running some other kind of value creatures. But of course, the Gonti is not standard legal; it's historic. So we're running this in historic, where we have do get access to a couple other cards that I think kind of work well with that kind of general steal your deck idea. But most of these cards are actually standard. So if you're a little bit newer at the game, you still probably have a lot of these cards as is. But yeah, Gonti, for those who are not familiar, it's a 4-mana 2/3, which isn't anything spectacular. However, it does have Death Touch, which is nice. And when it enters, we get to look at the top 4 cards of our opponent's library, exile one of them face down, and the rest go onto that player's library, bottom of their library. And then we can cast that card for as long as that card remains exiled, and we can spend mana as over any type of mana to cast that spell. Alright, so even if they kill Gonti, we still have that card in exile, so we never lose it. Unlike, say, a Robber of the Rich, where you have to actually attack, then you exile it, and then you have to have attack with a rogue that turn to actually be able to cast that spell. So that's kind of the nice upside about Gonti. But it is 4 mana, so it's a little bit slow for kind of an aggro style deck. So we're just running 2 of, because it is kind of fun to have around as our top end. And we're running 24 lands, so we can kind of get to that, especially being in 3 colors. We want to be able to hit our colors that we need as consistently as possible. So having more lands gives you more access to actually get those colors out that you need. And of course, in Historic, we have great lands with the check lands, shock lands, and everything like that. The only thing we're really missing is, of course, Ikoria did not give us the Grixis tri-lands, and of course, them not doing blocks means that we didn't get a continuation of that. We just got the one-off set. So hopefully someday we can get those tri-lands in other colors as well, which would be nice. So just kind of start at the top here and kind of go what our deck is trying to do. Unsummon just kind of fantastic tempo play, since that's kind of mostly what we're trying to do is just tempo out our opponent, and having the flexibility to also bounce one of our own creatures and protect it from removal, a sweeper or target removal is pretty great. So we can get, and also we have the enter the battlefield trigger of Gonti, of course. So if we want to get multiple triggers off of that, if the game is kind of stalling out, we want to try to get some more card advantage going on, we can always bounce our Gonti, just get additional triggers that way. So some fun stuff you can do with Unsummon, and some of these removal spells can be a little bit niche, and so Unsummon being able to kind of catch all. Like sure, they get to cast again, you don't actually kill it permanently, but you force them to kind of spend all their mana potentially recasting it and things like that, and just the flexibility to be able to protect your creatures from removal as well. And of course, Thieves Golden Fortune, which is kind of a new card we got, which a lot of people were excited about. It's a 1-mana flash, 1/1. When it or another rogue enters, we mill 2 cards from our opponent's deck, and then as long as there's 8 or more cards in their graveyard, it gets +2/+1 and Death Touch. So obviously, the longer the game goes on, the better this card is, and just having that versatility of flash, and in the late game, it being a 3/2 with Death Touch. So if your opponent's not really very creature heavy, it can be kind of aggro 3 powered for 1 mana that you can kind of flash on your opponent's end step. Maybe try to play around some removal or sweepers and things like that, or it can just kind of come down and flash on your opponent's combat step and maybe kill something with the Death Touch aspect that they weren't necessarily expecting to lose. A couple shocks here for a little bit of reach, and also to kind of kill some early creatures on our opponent's side. Eliminate, kind of same thing. Also being at Planeswalkers is nice. Kitesail Freebooter, we don't really want our opponent to really have a whole lot of removal. Obviously we have ways to play with Unsummon and some of our flash spells, but obviously we want to try to avoid removal, and even like Planeswalkers and things like that, because when this comes down, we get to exile a non-creature, non-land card under the Freebooter. Obviously, if they kill it, then obviously they get their thing back, but we can kind of force them to maybe target their Freebooter with their spot removal instead of some of our other more menacing threats. And Direfleet Daredevil is a interesting kind of a thematic creature here, 2/1 first striker. When it comes down, we get to look at our opponent's graveyard. Well, obviously you can always do that, but we get to exile an instant or sorcery, and we can cast that spell this turn. Otherwise, it just goes to exile, so they don't get it back. So you can always, even if you're tapping out to play this, you can kind of get rid of something maybe with like a jump start or something like that, and so they don't actually get that additional value off of Chemist's Insight or Radical Idea, those kind of cards. So, and also we can So it's really great against like control decks. or even other decks that are just trying to do something like similar to what we're doing, because we can play this, steal one of their removal spells that they killed on one of our creatures, and then we can use their removal spell against them to kill their creature. We can also, fun to do like Thought Erasures, your opponent Thought Erasures you, and then you draw into a Daredevil. You can cast that with 4 mana open, and then cast a Thought Erasure on them, and that's pretty great as well. Lava Coil, just nice exile removal at 2 mana, hits lots and lots of threats. Robber the Rich allows us to be very aggressive. Of course, it's a rogue, and also steals our opponent's library. So when it attacks, we exile the top card of the library, and as long as we attack the rogue that turn, we can cast that card using mana of any kind, of course. So Brazen Borrower here, just kind of a must. Being able to bounce any non-land permanent and then play it down as a rogue with a 3/1 flash and flying is pretty fantastic. And running an Exclusion Mage, since we're trying to be kind of a tempo-y style deck, that'd be fun to kind of run Exclusion Mage. It's kind of a fun card. Human Wizard here, 3 mana, 2/2. And when it comes down, we bounce creature and opponent controls to their hand. So kind of we can do the Robber the Rich on 2. Your opponent plays a creature that trades fair with it. We can just follow it up with an Exclusion Mage, bounce it back, get the attack trigger, Robber the Rich, chip away 2 more points of damage, things like that. So yeah, we're just trying to kind of tempo our opponent and light up the stage for some additional kind of card draw, since we are trying to be aggressive here, getting 2 for damage, and then we can spectacle this for a single red and then exile cards from the top of our library, which is nice because it gets around like card draw, so against certain matchups like your opponent's running Narset or things like that. And Thief of Sanity, of course, since we're going with a Steal Your Library theme. So 3 mana, 2/2 flyer, which is decent. However, when it deals combat damage to your player, look at the top 3 cards of their library. You get to exile one of them face down, the rest go into their graveyard. So unlike Gonti, where it puts them back in their library, they goes to their graveyard, which of course works nicely with the Daredevil. And then we can cast that card for as long as it remains exiled. So same thing as Gonti, we don't lose that card, it just stays in exile. We can cast that whenever. And finally here, Royal Scions. It's just a nice, powerful aggro planeswalker. Being able to give a creature +2/+0, first strike, and trample is pretty fantastic. And also for kind of flooding out, so we're running 24 lands, but our curve tops out at 4. So once you get set up where you can cast like a Gonti and things like that, you don't really need more lands than that. So you're happy to +1 to draw and discard and try to find more interactions, more creatures, or whatever it is you're looking for. Or if you're kind of been drawing all one color and you're missing like a second black source to play Gonti, then you can just discard a blue or red source or whatever to try to find that second black source and things like that. So Royal Scions, just kind of nice, flexible planeswalker, just really good all around. So mana base here, we're pretty balanced on our mana here. So we got 1 island, 1 swamp, 1 mountain, 3 Drowned Catacombs, 3 Sulfur Falls, 3 Dragonskull Summits, and then all of the Shocklands, Blood Crypt, Steam Vents, and Watery Grave. So this is just kind of a fun best of 1 list. So that's all we're gonna do. I can come up with a sideboard if you guys are interested in trying to run this on the ranked best of 3 queue as well, but probably not something you want to run at the higher levels of ranked play. But any decently constructed deck can certainly help you out in the lower levels of ranked. But for now, we're just going to jump into some best of 1. Alright, against Rathulium Zul. That's a pretty cool name. It's kind of awkward opening hand, but it could be fun. Do we want the Unsummon open? I don't think it matters too much with this hand. I mean, Royal Scions is a good card. Daredevil doesn't really do much in our opening hand, but I'm definitely scared of a mulliganing and just having like no lands or something else. So I think just having all the colors we need, and Royal Scions can maybe help us dig out of it. Oops, misclick there. I guess I probably made the right call. Yeah, I think we just pitch a Thieves Guild. It's probably worth it. So I think we'll flash in, or shock in the Watery Grave. And yeah, just flash in the Thieves Guild. Okay, so this is a little bit better hand than what we were doing. Ooh, Dryad, that's a cool card. So we'll play you. Probably want to kill that. Could just tempo them. Ooh, a Robber of the Rich. What's the most counters they can get next turn? Maybe 2? Yeah, so let's just swing in here. I'm pretty sure they're not going to block. They want to get some value off of their Dryad. Okay, Mangara and Broodmoth. And our opponent has not interested. Alright. It's Dopey Wicked. Yeah, it seems like a pretty solid opening hand. We're going shocking, and then we can shock any creature. Make sure you have the board clear for the Robber of the Rich, and just kind of go from there. Sulfur Falls. That could be a Sprite Dragon or something like that, or a Goblin Electromancer, so we'll hold up on the shock and just swing for 2 since they don't have a creature already. A Lava Coil, okay. So it looks like they're, oh, Grixis. Man. Yeah, I think Freebooter against Grixis would be safer since they tend to have tons of removal. Those DF fun are so random. Like, what does that even mean? I don't understand. Like, there's no way to give feedback as to how it was fun, but I'm kind of weird seeing the Grixis concede that quickly. Okay, man. Reginald K. MTG. It's pretty land heavy, but we do have a Gonti, so I think that makes it worth keeping. We have a 1 into 2, and eventually our 4-drop that's playable. So I think we shock in the Watery Grave here to have the Thieves Guild open to us, and then all these other ones come in untapped, so perfect. Ooh, and we have a 3-drop. This is beautiful. This is just the way we drew it up. Hopefully they give us something to a Lava Coil here. Chevelle, that is something we definitely want to get off the board. Perfect. Grim Tutor, Death Sprout. So just kind of a Golgari mid-range. So a bit of a non-bow, having to go to Exile, but definitely worth killing, and just Lava Coil, just a nice card all around. So I think we still continue with our curve. Thief into Gonti. Royal. And good. Just kind of try to tempo with like the Petty Theft and then hold up Unsummon when they play it again. But kind of want to get this Thief online first and just start hitting our opponent's library. If they don't have a flyer, then we can attack first. Although they're in Golgari colors, so there's a decent chance they have removal. But if they kill it and don't actually add to the board or play something that works with Jor-El, then that's fine too. They're in a Grim Tutor, so they don't have to reveal it, which is nice for them. Could be a Ritual of Sit or Extinction Event, since these are even. I mean, since their creature is even and ours are odd. So let's hit them for 2. See what we get. Crucible. I'm not sure what Crucible is there for. We don't have much card draw ourselves, but I'm not sure what we're doing with the Crucible, so we'll take the Jor-El, I guess. It is a body. And I mean, if it's Extinction Event, then I think that's fine. We want to get the 2-4 down, or the 2-3 down. Get our own Grim Tutor. What do we want to tutor up? We could get a Royal Scions. Libation doesn't really do much if they're going to be making a bunch of tokens. Okay, so no sweeper, they just want a Death Sprout? Was that what they tutored up? That's curious. So their graveyard is nice and full now. They can't kill our Thieves Guild. Is it worth getting in for 3 to bounce it? Maybe. Force them to replay it. So opponent down to 9. What do we want here? Scions is tempting. It does give us trample and card draw if they do sweep the board. Let's fire that off. I don't think Robber is quite what we're looking for. Thief is tempting, of course. Oh boy. Exclusion Mage. I think we do like the Royal Scions play. Could also go for the Daredevil and then maybe get another tutor effect. Or, let's see. Yeah, we would have enough to Death Sprout next turn. But it all depends on what they're playing. I mean, they're firmly in a Golgari mid-range. It's pretty cool what they're doing though. The Jor-El, Chevelle, card draw. I'm not sure what Crucible is for. Grim Tutor is a nice card. Pretty greedy with the Death Sprouts. I'm not sure what that's all about. Is there maybe a third color here or just some powerful ramp stuff they're trying to get into. Azusa. Okay, so it's kind of a lands matter, seems like. And they still have mana to Jor-El, but they go for Crucible. Sure. So they have all the mana in the world. We can hit for 5 next turn, put them down to 4. Royal Scions can make it +2, put them down to 2. Another creature. So, play you. Don't think we care about Azusa, so I think we just eliminate the Jor-El, so they don't get to go wide on us. And Azusa doesn't really do much. We have Death Touch on both creatures, so yeah. So just make Gonti a little bit bigger. They want to block that. Just tramples through, or they can just block this and they still take 4. Okay, so we trample through for 2, hit them for 3, take 5, they're still down to 4. Or 3? Did I miscount there? I guess, yeah, the Death Touch, first strike Death Touch, just need to deal 1 damage, so then the 3 trample through instead of 2, yeah. And get Rog. Okay, now it makes sense what they're doing. Can we answer that? I mean, we can bounce it. And then I think we have lethal. No, because they're making 2/2s. So we need multiple interaction spells. I totally forgot if this is still in our hand or if this is an exile. Did we petty theft something earlier? I don't remember now. Our opponent just went super wide here thanks to Gitrog. Okay, so we do have the Borrower in hand. We can also go wide, but I'm not sure we're actually winning that way. Kind of want to draw and just get some removal spells. Jeez. Them killing our Thief was pretty big. But I think we just try to kill. So let's bounce their biggest, most expensive thing. And yeah, get the plus on the Gonti going, trample. See if we can force enough damage across. Obviously we can flash in the Brazen Borrower, and we can play Jor-El just as a kind of a maybe way to protect our Scions. And maybe Scions is just good enough to close out the game if we don't have good attacks with their life total so low. So I doubt they are able to go after Royal Scions, but in Golgari they probably have some way to deal with it otherwise. Sure. So they prevent the 3 there. Obviously want to deal with Jor-El first. And they have a 1 mana spell here. Wow, that's cute. We have first strike though, so yeah. So they lose their board. Let's go and play out Jor-El because it's their Jor-El. And then we can just flash this in, so whatever they do, they need instant speed removal to deal with this. Otherwise, I think we're in a pretty good spot. Obviously, the Gitrog monster really went off last turn, so let's see what they can do this turn. At least force them to replay it, so they kind of had to eat up a good chunk of their mana, but they're playing lands like crazy, drawing a million cards. Jeez. How many lands do you get to play with Gitrog? Alright, so they're eyeing the Royal Scions, maybe have some removal for it. Nope, they don't have a way to deal with it. Sweet. That was an interesting game. Yeah, Gitrog monster, even in Historic, put in some work. It's Phoenix 98. Yeah, hand seems great. If they don't play anything, we can Freebooter them to kind of see what they're up to. If they're more controlling, they're everything on turn 2. We can just kill something with Lava Coil and then go Thief. Perfect. And Gonti shows up. Alright, no plays from our opponent, which means we freebooter and see what they're up to. Is it colors? Oh, but they're on some 250 card nonsense. Helm of the Host is pretty annoying. Terror is pretty annoying. Let's take out the Cultivate. So we can Lava Coil either of their creatures, but we use slow down their ability to actually find something. So let's go Thief. I want to get that online as quickly as possible. Next turn we have Lava Coil into light up the stage maybe, but our opponent misses green, and I have double red for Phoenix. So yeah, just super greedy, 250 card deck. I mean, they're always playing with some cool cards. Obviously Helm on Terror of the Pigs is pretty insane. Wow, that's a really insane combo. Super greedy and expensive, but if you can pull it off, man, that's pretty crazy. But yeah, I mean, why not just play 60 cards if that's what you're trying to do? You can make a more focused build and actually get that off consistently instead of just whatever. But obviously in Historic you have lots of good things. You can Helm of the Host, but you know, having to pay 4 just to cast it and then 5 to equip is just super hard to pull off. But yeah, Helm of the Host on Terror is pretty nuts. Jeez. All right, the Great White Bambino. Wow. Triple Unsummon and Eliminate. It's actually kind of tempting because we have the 3 lands here, but probably not keeping without a creature. I mean, we do have, wow, we do need black. If I should cast anything. Maybe Robber can get us there. So we'll ditch the Eliminate. And just trust the deck will give us a black source here within a couple draws. Not a black source, but as a playable spell at least. Forest from our opponent. Okay, Golgari. So yeah, well, on empty board we'll go ahead and swing in 2. They could have removal, but doesn't look like it. Poison Tip Archer. Okay, this is a Sapling deck. Desperately need some lands here. And that's a land. Let's see. We definitely want to get this down so we can get that trigger. Shadowed Caravel. Okay. Let's get the Thief down. Hope they don't have a Ritual sit. Whatever creature you control explores. Wait, what was that? Whatever creature you control explores, put a +1 counter. Okay, so they're just the Golgari Explore. So I guess they're a Wild Growth Walker deck. And they just didn't find the Walker. I mean, they had double green for Jade Light Ranger. Like, what kind of hand did you keep that you didn't have anything to cast there? Okay, against Darmus. Yeah, without a black mana, I think we can keep this. So we'll have the mulligan. This is better. I think we just ditch the mountain. And we'll shock in and flash in. Next turn we have Freebooter or Daredevil. Obviously Daredevil works better if we have something to potentially steal from our opponent's yard. Mill. So basically just racing here. Our opponent with like 60 something cards. So let's Freebooter, see what they got. Ashiok on turn 5. I guess we'll take the Corrosion. Just try to minimize their early plays. So just in a race here. Sweet Oblivion. Obviously their stuff doesn't really work too well. It's gonna start. I'm not sure we can really actually beat them. They got the 1/2 and the 0/4 coming down. Obviously we can kind of tempo them out a little bit, but it kind of works in their favor having these go back to their hand. So I'm not sure we can win this matchup. They're just going to kind of stall us and frustrate us and not really let us do what we want to do. And we unfortunately had to mulligan. guess we just swing one in the air. Maybe they're just stuck on lands, and maybe that's our path. Although we can see they have two more lands. So they're probably going to have Ashiok on 5, and we probably just lose from there. So we have to exile the Oblivion. That just goes to exile permanently. So that's kind of a nice little bit of interaction with the Daredevil, but alright, they gain the life. Well, they're at 19, and they're probably going to be Ashiok on 5, and then just win the game from there. Definitely want to bounce something. What do we... I mean, that... Probably the Apprentice. Another land. It's not what we needed here. But we'll, I guess, get to swing all for one turn. Next turn, the Apprentice. Mill some more. And these draws are just terrible. The mulligan, terrible. Just things obviously are not going our way. And against mill, I mean, just a race, and they have all these high toughness creatures which line up well with what we're trying to do. So obviously they're and now they can find another land with the tutelage, mill some more. They could just find a Ritual of Soot and blow up our board. There's so many things they could have to just finish the deal. And we're drawing nothing but lands. So yeah, not much of a game here. So we'll move on. Right, against Despotic Scepter. Let's see if we get one more good match in here. I mean, yeah, it's tempting. I think we keep it. We have all 3 of our colors here, and everything is playable. So we'll go ahead and shock this in. Hold up Unsummon and shock. This is the Jeskai. I guess we just shock face. Our opponent concedes. You're running Jeskai and you want to concede against... you don't want to play against Grixis? I mean, I shocked you. Most Grixis controllers don't really run shock. So I'm not really sure. Obviously, we're going to freebooter there, just kind of look at their hand, get any planeswalkers or sweepers out of their hand, and just kind of hope we drew into some lands from there, so we can kind of get some creatures down. Even playing Exclusion Mage, if they're not running creatures, is probably worth it just to get a body down, but it depends. Another 70 card deck. I don't know what's up with all these decks here. Okay, against DK Millman. Alright. Now let's see if we can get one more good match to end things with. I mean, if we find a 3rd land for the Thief, this is amazing. At the minimum, we can freebooter and hopefully at least attack on the following turn and then light up the stage. So I think we'll keep it. Also have the Lava Coil if they're running some creatures we need to get rid of on 2. So not amazing, but it's reasonable. So yeah, see what we can do here. Alright, another castable creature at least. Still probably leaning on the freebooter, but we'll see what our opponent does. Okay, a life gain. Of course it has to be a life gain. Let's get rid of that. I'm gonna go Heliod here. Nope, Charming Prince. Scry. Obviously, Unsummon doesn't really work against Charming Prince, but if we continue missing land drops, we can at least Daredevil. We found a land, so I think we just want to get this Thief down and hope they don't have an answer. We can start getting some value off of that. Use their creatures against them just to kind of hold down the fort and just kind of keep swinging in through the air. Okay, Naya. Naya life gain. Another 100 card pile of just random nonsense. So they can gain life or put counters, go aggro, it's fine. We're not running auras. They have an easy attack here for 2. I don't know why they didn't go for it. Maybe we're just freebooter and then we have Unsummon and light up the stage. We could have attacked with Thief first, maybe. I guess we take the birth. I have so much life gain, jeez. Charming Prince is a human. Guess we take the angel. Let's light up the stage. Okay, we have Robber and Dire Fleet Daredevil next turn. We'll just bounce this now, I guess. I mean, they can't mutate onto this, so it kind of forces them to decide where they want to display the Cubwarden as a creature. Okay, Soul Warden into Knight of Autumn. So pretty annoying, all the life gain going on here. But we'll see what we can do. Okay, Exclusion Mage is nice. Can't really cast anything with the Daredevil. It doesn't really exile anything. So let's swing first, see what we hit. Wow, you're just memeing over here with Alsaid, Rhythm. All this life gain is super obnoxious. We'll just play the take the 1/1 life flinker, and let's go and take the Daredevil and the Robber just to get some more creatures down. They get some life, super annoying with the Soul Warden, and yeah, it's gonna be hard for us to push through. We're pretty light on removal. We're just kind of trying to tempo, so this is definitely one of the situations where we definitely need our sideboard to actually help us out. But I mean, they're playing some 100-card pile of kind of nonsense. So now they get to mutate, they go wide, have a bunch of life gain. Yeah, 5-powered life linker. Yeah, I don't think we can come back, and they're just going to gain so much life. But there's not much we can do here, especially if we don't have good attacks. Alright, save 1985. Alright, just trying to end on a high note here. Alright, seems pretty reasonable. Obviously love seeing the Thief in opening hand. And then we have Petty Theft or Daredevil. Again, with these 100-card piles of jank nonsense. I mean, I guess the Arena Shuffle lets you get away with playing this kind of nonsense and actually have castable hands and spells, but it just seems like good luck doing that in paper. Not only the shuffling part, even if you could shuffle it, just actually being able to have castable things just seems pretty unlikely. I think we just want a Daredevil just get some bodies down. They could just have a sweeper, but I mean, if they want to spend a sweeper to kill that, or some spot removal, it keeps our Thief alive. So we'll see what they do. Oh, life gain. Incubation Druid. Obviously we want to get our Thief online as quickly as possible. Incubation Druid means they probably don't have a sweeper. We have First Strike, so not a really good block for them. It's only 2 damage. Not sure why they're thinking so hard about it. Okay, Thief down, now we have some nice options next turn. Really? We can bounce that. Incubation Druid and Aurelia. Not cards you'd expect to see together, but if they think it's fun, cool. Alright. Could bounce both their things here, that's probably reasonable. But let's actually attack with the Thief first, see what we hit. Might actually want to cast something off of that. Baneslayer's pretty good. Can't play that now. Let's go and bounce you. So if you miss a land drop, you can't play Aurelia. And if all they do is just play Incubation Druid, that's fine with us. You're running 250 cards and you're playing cards like Living Twister. Double red and green. I just don't understand these decks. Like, at all. At all. Just doesn't make any sense. And the fact that the shuffler, like, how have you actually been able to cast everything? Like, it's crazy to me. It is just crazy to me that you can actually be able to play things. Elspeth Conquers Death is pretty good. Man, what do we want to cast here? Do we have anything in our yard? We don't have anything in our yard. I kind of want to get this Baneslayer down. And they can hit us for 2, gain 2, but that's fine. I'll just Baneslayer, that seems pretty good. Try to be aggressive. We're down to 13. We have first strike, so actually the Baneslayer can kill the Prowler with the first strike, and the Death Touch won't matter. And then we can Elspeth something, the Aurelia maybe, but nope, they just go for Sanctum. So Leyline, Aurelia, Sanctums, Time Wipe, like just kind of a disorganized pile on our opponent's side. I'll just keep bouncing all their stuff. Seems pretty good. Let's hit them with Thief first and see what happens. Down to 4. We don't really need to add to the board with anything here. Song of Creation. Like, nothing in your deck synergizes with that. It's a cool card, but nothing you're doing synergizes with it, like, at all. I think it's a draw and discard. We don't really want to add to the board here. Let's just Elspeth Conquers Death. So if they do have a sweeper effect, then we can just get some stuff back from our graveyard on the 3rd Saga. If they just go for like Aurelia, then we just Exclusion Mage and swing in for lethal. If we draw land, we can also Orrery, but probably not something we want to do. Let's see, we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we could actually do this and then cast Mage plus Petty Theft or Daredevil. Yeah, they just go for the Aurelia to try to save them, but they're actually just dead just from that alone, because they have to block Baneslayer and then they just take 4. So opponent just dead here. There you go. And Golgari Finebroker, double black. I just don't understand these kind of decks. Like, you just throw a bunch of cards together and see what happens. Shrines with creatures, Song of Creation with just a bunch of random stuff. And I guess the Shuffler just kind of fixes you and just gives you the time wipe when you need it and things like that. But yes, that was a nice example of how we were able to kind of mess with our opponent's library. Got some nice value. The Baneslayer Angel and Elspeth Conquers Death both came in clutch. Obviously, Exclusion Mage would have been fantastic in that matchup as well. Daredevil didn't really do a whole lot. We did exile one of the spells earlier that had not Jumpstart, but whatever you call that, Escape. So that was kind of nice. Otherwise, yeah, just kind of random pile there. Let's just kind of go over the list one more time. So yeah, just kind of a fun best of one. Obviously, you're going to come up against some matchups that you don't really have a good game one against. Where it's nice to have kind of a sideboard, but then I don't know if it's quite good enough to run like in best of 3, especially at the higher levels of ranked play. But having Unsummon is kind of a nice catch-all. Maybe you just need some more hard removal in here, but you know, the 2 and 3 drops are already pretty congested as it is. Maybe Exclusion Mage can be something else, but kind of nice going for that, just kind of a tempo play, so you can get in for your Robber the Rich, Thief of Sanity, things like that. And then while you're attacking with them, you know, Gonti can just sit back as a Death Touch creature, so your opponent doesn't want to attack into your Royal Scions or attack your life total. But maybe the Freebooter and Daredevil are just better in the sideboard, and maybe you just want some more Eliminates and Lava Coils or stuff like that. It could be certainly an option in a best of 1 environment, and just kind of focus on the Robber, Thief of Sanity, Gonti interaction. Obviously, Daredevil is probably just better as a sideboard card typically anyway. And same could be said of Freebooter. Although there's so many decks where you can definitely hit something with this. But the problem with like Duress and Freebooter is there's so many adventure cards, and which are creatures, of course, which you can't hit with the Freebooter. So it's a bit of a downside. But there's still, you know, obviously you want to get Planeswalkers and Sweepers, Shadow the Skies, and things like that. But maybe, yeah, maybe it's just better off with running these in the sideboard and just kind of going for more removal heavy in your main board. But yeah, we can kind of play around with it in the come up with a sideboard for anybody that is interested in best of 3 with this list as well. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and until next time, make sure you jank with a